For far too long, the effective management of the customer's experience has been considered a soft skill. But today, successful companies recognize that the customer experience is king, or from my perspective, is queen. Welcome to CX Unplugged. I'm Gabrielle Gonzalez, your host, and in this series, you will hear from me and other industry experts about how prioritizing the customer experience led to amazing outcomes. Brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of CX Unplugged by the Multifamily Media Network. Today, you guys are going to love our topic. We're talking about how to manage customer experience across business verticals. And my guest that is with us today is a very impressive young lady and who is currently the 2024 Indy Crew President and board member for Executive Women in Healthcare. Kristin is a results-oriented director of marketing for the Cornerstone Companies, and her focus is on healthcare real estate, marketing, brand positioning, team leadership, internal and external communications, and business development for the 5 business lines, which are development, construction, brokerage, property and facility management, and investments and asset management. That's what we're going to be talking about today and get some of her insights on that. And her responsibilities include more than 11 million square feet, and they're across 25 states, I believe. So Kristin Hornberger, thank you very much for joining us. I'm so excited to have you here and sharing this conversation with our listeners.
Thanks, Gabrielle. What a blast to be here. I've listened to the podcast, so it's fun to be here, and I've loved and been inspired by you since I've heard you talk the first time you came and spoke to our group and the mentor for Indy Crew. So it's been fun to get to follow you, and what a success with the new podcast, and it's an honor to be here. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you. That's great to hear too. First off, I really want to take a moment to, kind of really introduce you, Kristin, to our listeners. I mean, you are a mover and a shaker. You're a very accomplished young lady who I have been really excited to watch your journeys and your progression. You have made your mark on the real estate business pretty profoundly over the last 6 years or so. And I just really want to make sure that our listeners can, they know that what we're talking about today can be a great roadmap really for other young ladies coming up in the real estate business, or young men also, of course. But, I thought maybe it would be fun to, kind of get started talking about maybe anything that you're most proud of. Is there anything, as you reflect on your journey so far, if there's something that really stands out to you, something that you're especially proud of, a particular moment, project, or endeavor?
Love it. I love it. Well, I would say it's been fun. It's been quite a journey. I haven't had the linear journey maybe as some know. I've talked to a lot of students and their path. They already know what they want to do, and they're in college, going to an internship, and I've already joined the commercial real estate industry. And for me, it wasn't it was a little bit more jagged than that linear path straight there. So I guess I'm inspired by that and talking to others, but knowing that you don't maybe have it all figured out when you get out of college and kind of find your path. But I think I'm super honored to be Indy Crew President for 2024, passing the baton here to 2025. But it's been great to have the opportunity to represent our local chapter here in Indianapolis, but also globally on our global Crew Network platform, and being able to make connections, collaborate, and get to work with our Indy Crew board and co-chairs, our membership of our organization. But I think for me, that's been quite an honor to have that seat, but also just represent and being able to advance women in commercial real estate and be a part of things in motion. So that's definitely an honor.
Absolutely. I know it, I'm seeing via social media and just hearing through colleagues and, our network and so forth that you guys, I mean, the Indy Crew group is such an incredible group of women and dynamic professionals. And being in that seat to be really kind of representing them in this space too, I think it is really remarkable. Cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've got women and men. We have allies in all forms. So it's definitely been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me of that too. I know I have a tendency, I'm like, yay, women supporting women, and not to leave our brothers out at all. Not at all to leave them out. We appreciate and embrace them too.
Exactly.
I gotta sometimes remember to, include that. So from a customer experience standpoint, right? We're in CX Unplugged, and I really want you to help share with our listeners what obstacles maybe are currently shaping the customer experience landscape in your sector, because your sector is a little bit different than the multifamily sector. We're still talking about real estate. We're still talking about management and a variety of business verticals within that. But tell us a little bit about what obstacles are currently shaping that experience in your world.
Sure. I think so. Cornerstone Companies, we're a healthcare real estate company. We have the 5 service lines with, as you mentioned, the development, construction, property and facility management, brokerage and investments. And so I think for me, being director of marketing, I get to promote those teams, but also our 5 service lines, we do run into different things and obstacles. So I think development and construction, clients are wanting something cutting edge, a facility that meets just the patient needs. Tight budgets are typically normal, complex compliance within the healthcare real estate. So things that are regulatory within the healthcare requirement, and this causing roadblocks. I think sustainability, you've got a growing demand for eco-friendly solutions, aligning environmental goals and operational budgets. It just adds complexity, I think, within the healthcare real estate. And I think technology and integrating with clients' appreciation and tools that improve transparency and efficiency, adapting these tools to what they may be needing. Client expectations are always changing, but you need to be able to adjust to that as well. So just navigating those challenges, trying to remain seamless and having that client experience that's going to be flexible, creative, agile, and just allows for collaboration where you're listening to your client and what they need.
That makes me think about a blog post I recently was writing about, how, what some of the predictions are, I think, in terms of customer experience moving into 2025. And one of those things I do think that's going to continue to challenge folks is that that customized experience, right, for your clients, understanding what it is that they're looking for. I wonder, are you guys using any particular technology, or do you have any specific strategies in place to sort of get that information to customize that experience? But also ooh, I was getting a weird echo right there. Sorry. I don't know if that came through or not, but on my end,
sound.
I was like talking to myself. But if you guys have any solutions or technologies in place that really help you kind of understand what those customer needs and expectations are without being too intrusive, to like just get, I guess, to be too intrusive.
Yeah. I think technology in general, you have to keep up with the times, what is out there, what is available. If you're not doing it, your competitor will be doing it. So, doing the research, finding out what is new, what's innovative, what's helpful to both you and your clients, what is going to, create those processes. But I think development construction might be project management tools that are really going to be up to date and real time updates. property management team might benefit from streamlining tenant improvement requests tenant requests, accounting needs, facility management, work orders, things that you're going to make sure that the tenant and the client experience is going to be good and handled from the time they put in an order to then getting your maintenance team out there to then get things fixed and up and running again or adjusted. I think in investments, your data analytics, your reporting, you got to keep clients informed about their performance. They want to know where their money is, how it's doing. Is it good, bad, ugly? Like all of the things, but keeping them in the know. So how you're tracking that information, I think Chat GPT and AI services, you've got to be looking into what those can bring. So I think each service line can be more efficient based on some of those decisions and things, customer experiences that they can get and gain from that technology that's out there. So I think in our sectors, the commercial real estate, healthcare, really just technology is a big part of that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. So let me ask you this. How do you differentiate? Sorry, my question is this actually. How do different parts of your business approach customer experience, and where do you see maybe alignment or divergence from that approach?
Sure. I think for client experiences and challenges with our different service lines, development, our customer experience might center on aligning with the client's vision, managing expectations around those timelines that are given, keeping up with those timelines, navigating complex permitting, zoning, sometimes unpredictability. Construction, I would say you're getting customer experiences focused on heavily with communication around those timelines or safety budgets. Clients may expect proactive updates and progress, any issues that arise as they arise. The brokerage team, client expectations will revolve around market insights and speed, personalized approach. Customer experience in brokerage, you're often going to be looking at a relationship building and tailoring your guidance based on what the client's needing and facing. Property management and facility management, your day-to-day satisfaction is going to hinge on operational efficiencies and prompt responses to any issues. The customer experience often includes handling tenant and facility requests effectively, timely. Investments in the asset management team, your customer experience is going to be driven on trust and transparency. Your clients are looking for strong returns, timely updates on their portfolio and what's happening.
Kristin, that, one of the things that came up, I think, a couple of times in what you were talking about was meeting the client's expectations in terms of, and I'm going into the property management side. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And on the multifamily side, for example, we talk a lot about, a 24-hour or a 48-hour turnaround time on resident generated service requests. So I'm wondering, and that's sort of, I think, like a standard, right? In commercial real estate, is it the same or is there a difference, or what kind of variation maybe might exist in terms of a baseline, right? And does that change across those business segments too? Curious.
So I would say property management and facility management, I would say at least that 24 hours. I would say in healthcare, we are probably needing to be even more timely in some cases. Sometimes our ORs, our operating rooms, are going to be temperature regulated. If something is not at the temperature they need it to be in that operating room, it affects everything and things go, and they need to have that adjusted immediately. So I think sometimes our requests are even more timely than an office that, maybe just is uncomfortable with the temperature. So I think healthcare just adds that extra element and intricacies, but also just things you have to think about. It's not just that 24 hours they have to respond. It might be within a couple hours, where it has got to be more timely and they have got to get on it immediately. And, how do we fix this? What do we need to do? Call in the recruits and the whole team, working together to make things happen.
Yeah, that is so interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. The difference between, if you're dealing with an OR versus an office, right? Like that, even those segments, just from a management perspective, are so different. So you're having to juggle all those things from a
A little bit
customer
more.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's super cool. Here, let's see. Well, tell me this. So I wanted to maybe drill down on if you have, and I'm sure it's just like, my kids, I love them all exactly the same. Okay. You don't have a favorite kid. You don't have a favorite area of interest within your industry. But if you did, let's just say, is there one area that, you find, I don't know, just most maybe compelling overall? And yeah, and if so, like what are those dynamics that sort of drive your heightened level of interest or passion in that particular space?
So I think for me, what maybe draws or is compelling, so my role now is a director of marketing. And with my role here at Cornerstone, I went back to my roots. When I first joined commercial real estate, I was in marketing and worked and was a part of the brokerage team. So I think brokerage is my background when it comes to commercial real estate. So for me, that's one of my service lines that I know more so than some of the others. So my background and what's more compelling would be that brokerage side. And so for me, I'm not picking a favorite, but just because I grew up in brokerage, I think that one of our service lines is a little bit more familiar. And some of the others where I work with those teams and things enough to know more about those, but I also am intrigued to learn more. I think the investments and the asset management, the financial pieces within those are a lot more less knowledgeable about. So I love learning more from those teams and gathering more information on where I can pick up the pieces on things that I don't know yet. So I think if I had to pick that one, it would be the brokerage just because of my background.
Sure. So that's your comfort spot. Yeah.
Exactly. When
I
you put
get it.
yourself in the comfort zone versus challenging yourself a little bit more and, doing a little bit more research or asking more questions and things like that.
So, okay, not to put you on the spot, but putting you on the spot, I guess. Is there something that can you think of something that really stood out to you that was like a wow moment when you were learning about, since you started off on the brokerage side of things, like, you know, something that stood out to you in terms of a lesson learned or just an eye-opening moment with respect to the differences between the brokerage side and maybe another aspect of the business?
I think it's interesting to me where I think for us in an ideal world, all of our clients would use all of our service lines. And for me, I didn't realize how much that would be helpful. And, where I just was doing brokerage and you don't realize how all those pieces work together and maybe develop a site and get that construction then happening at a site. You get your engineers, all the people, the architects and the city, all of the things that make those development and then turning that to construction, then to then work on leases with the brokerage team and then property management and always talking about the investment, the financial pieces that who's going to be investing in this. Do we have a client that can pay for this all by themselves? Do we need to come in as a company and help? Do we find some investment partners on our bigger projects, things like that? So I think for me, coming to Cornerstone and that integration between all of the services has been interesting to see versus previous when I was just in the brokerage side, where I'm definitely seeing more teams working together and how do we get this client what they need.
Yeah. I didn't think about that either. So, are you saying in some cases you may have, you may do the development piece, but then maybe hand it over to a different company for construction, and then
Correct.
maybe even a
Correct.
different company for leasing, and then a different company for management, even?
Right.
possibly.
So you're working with all different teams, communication. You have to make sure the client in the end is going to have a great, seamless transition. So, yes, we don't do all of the pieces. In an ideal world, yes, we would, but that's not reality. So they may already have an existing broker or they already have the existing teams in place. So you're working with different teams, different clients, different vendors on each of those pieces. So, yeah, just figuring out what works best, and that client needs to be happy at the end of the day.
Yeah. So I would bet that you're really, you're kind of learning. I mean, in that role, you're able to learn sort of best practices from a variety of different companies and see, wow, that, there's so many different ways that people handle construction, or there's so many different ways you can handle management or leasing or any element of that. So it allows you to sort of evaluate or like, witness, I suppose, and then kind of evaluate too for yourself, analyze and evaluate maybe what some of those overall best practices could be. So, I mean, you're really getting a lot of information and could probably really share some really good feedback, too
Oh, our
about.
teams, yeah, the stories we could all tell in regards to good, bad, all the things they've seen and things they've lessons learned. It's not always our own experiences, but something we've experienced from another team, or like that's not going to work, or that didn't work well, or how do we keep improving? And so for our business being in Cornerstone's been around for 40 years. This next year, we're celebrating 40th anniversary. So I think few lessons learned, but always it's a continuous process. How do you keep evolving and make and improve your team and also just what you're doing, specializing in our healthcare?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, that's going to be another podcast, by the way. So stay tuned for that one.
There we
It's going to
go.
be lessons learned, right? Because I've got a whole episode of those
Oh
myself,
my gosh. Yeah.
as
We'll
long as
bring
I've
in a
been doing
couple team
this.
members. Let's do a panel for that one.
Right, exactly. Oh my gosh. One of the things I think as we sort of wrap this up for folks, you have really leveraged the networking and leadership, your networking and leadership skills to help other women and men in the real estate business grow. And so I'm curious, what advice do you have for somebody new that might be looking to get into the business or transition from one element, one business line or service line to another? Or, what advice might you give to somebody who's maybe thinking about a change or thinking about getting into this, giving this business a try?
Love that. Well, thank you, Gabrielle. That's a great compliment as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
I think my advice, maybe starting in commercial real estate, is focusing on authenticity, relationships, active listening, whether it's understanding your client's needs, learning from a mentor, listening, uncovering key value. I think confidence is equally important. Your unique perspective and what you can really drive with innovation and inspiring trust. I think for me, confidence, it's something I've had to work on. And when I first entered commercial real estate, like I said, I didn't have the linear path. I think not having that confidence when I first came in, and one of my bosses, looked at me and said, I think you do a lot of research before you hop on a call with our clients, but you don't always come across that way. And so for me, it was really working on being intentional about not ending your sentences with a question mark, really just being a little bit more confident in my statements, and not getting too wordy. But I think just working on that confidence, incorporating your customer experience into your approach is critical. I feel like you're going to focus on how your actions impact your client experiences. You need to create opportunities for growth and loyalty, retaining those clients. This is, what we're all about, keeping those clients happy. Lastly, maybe prioritizing collaboration, working with others. You're all going to benefit from those networking opportunities and collaborations. You're going to have mutual success and growth, and it's going to be rewarding. I think find your network. Who is it that's supporting you, bringing you joy, but also business. Who are these people that bring you up, and surround yourself by those great people, professionals, get involved in organizations, look for mentors, all of the things that really help you, but ultimately will help your client and your client experience.
Well, I appreciate you sharing the vulnerability too of the confidence piece. And I can tell you something, just even for my 25 plus years now, confidence is something that, we all have struggled with at one point or another, or continue to on a daily basis. So you are
Exactly.
not
Yeah,
alone. You have not been alone. And those of you who may be getting into this, you're not alone either.
exactly.
Thanks for sharing that. I think that vulnerability is really does demonstrate the authenticity that you're talking about as well. And I couldn't agree with you more about just finding those people that support you and that are your people. That's something I preach all the time. Is just let's support each other, let's help each other come up, let's give advice, let's not there's enough negativity out there. We don't need to tear each other down. We need to bring each other
Exactly.
up.
Let's bring each other up. Let's all benefit from that and be happy individuals and well-rounded people, and look at our clients, but also just what makes us happy, and making sure we do all the things to get there.
I
I
agree.
agree.
Well, Kristin, thank you so much for taking your time today to share your experience and some great information about commercial real estate and that journey with our listeners. I'm sure people are going to find some great value to this. And if anyone would like to reach out to you, maybe from that mentoring perspective, like you talked about, how would they do that?
I would love that. Yeah, please reach out. Anybody that would need anything, any questions, happy to answer anything. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I think just find me, Kristin Hornberger, at Cornerstone Companies. I am an open book, so please reach out. I am loving that. But my email, if you want that as well, but
Yeah.
Kristin Hornberger, but having K Hornberger at cornerstonecompanies.com.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, you'll definitely be able to find Kristin on LinkedIn. She's all over the place, or she's in an event like every single day and doing kicking butt on her job. So find this
Thank
gal,
you.
and I appreciate, Kristin, so much your time today. I know you are a busy lady. I admire what you're doing, and I can't wait to keep seeing you thrive in this business. Thanks for
Thank
spending your
you.
time today.
Thank you for the opportunity. Look forward to the future conversations always, and getting to see you. So thank you, Gabrielle.
Me too. All right, that concludes today's episode of CX Unplugged. I hope you will join us for our next episode on the Multifamily Media Network. CX Unplugged, where we have redefined who your customer really is. Join me next time to hear more missteps and masterful manifestations in the world of multifamily customer experience. Brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network.